Welcome to this edition of the AARP New York Smart Driver Podcast. Tonight we're going to talk about course timing. And when you teach the manual method, you may ask yourself, how do I get comfortable managing the 6 hours that we're required to fill? Well, if you look at the course, here's the way the 6 hours breaks down. You can see in the orange that there's 72 minutes of video. There's two 10-minute breaks. And generally, we recommend at the beginning of the course that you do your administration. So if any latecomers come, you don't have to send them away and you can include them in the course. And that's how you do the 6 hours. And normally you do the 6 hours in two parts, 3 hours and 3 hours, or you can do it all in one day and then you add a half an hour or more of a break for lunch. So you can schedule 6.5 hours for that. But if you take a look at the bullets, there's about 105 pages in the book. And if you look at your student teacher manual, you'll see that there's a flip out on the right, and that shows you every section and subsection of each one of the 6 modules in the course. And there's a recommended timing for each one. And when there's a break and there's a breakdown, there's a column for the 8 hour course, a column for the 6 hour course, and a column for the 4 hour course. We in New York teach the 6 hour course, so we use the center column. And you can see that that's a pretty good way to keep track of how you do it. There's other ways too. Of course, after you've done several courses, you'll have a pretty good feel for where you are and how your timing is. But another way to think about is, as there is in the bullet, there's about 105 pages in the book that you're going to talk about. And that's what you're going to talk about in that 248 minutes. And so if you think of each one of these sessions, since there's 6 hours and two 10-minute breaks, you're going to have about an hour and a half, and you're going to have a break, and then you're going to have an hour and a half, and you'll have a break either for the next day or a break for lunch. Then you'll have an hour and a half, an hour and a half. So roughly that's about 26 pages in each one of those hours and a half. And as you're talking, since you're doing the manual method and you're following along in the book with the students, you'll be mentioning the pages just so they can keep track of where you are. But you can tell yourself based on the page number you're on pretty much where you are in your hour and a half, and that's one way to do that. There's tools available on the portal as well. There's a couple of spreadsheets that you can do if you really want to get into the engineering of this. But generally, using the flip outs on the right-hand side of the book and do the watch the page numbers. That's a pretty good way to do that. And for instance, when I teach, when I'm doing section 3, I generally overlap a little bit of that, and that goes into the second half. Generally about railroads and sharing the road is when you do that. But section 2 and 3 is a little bit longer than section 4 and 6 in the afternoon. So that'd be okay. So that's the end of this one, and look for some other good advice in other podcasts. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or thoughts about this or think of any improvements, text us. There's the text number there on the screen at 518-952-2216. Thank you very much.